Welcome everyone for coming to this great gathering. It's so great to see so many Notre Dame softball faces out there and familiar faces coming up and maybe some new faces. For those of you that might not know me, my name is Lizzy Ristano. I'm a 2001 graduate of Notre Dame. And I coached for 17 years up until last year with Deanna and the crew on staff. So my life recently has taken me to Annapolis, Maryland, where I've been living for the last month as my husband is the head coach at the Naval Academy, which has been very cool. I see Haley DeMaria on the call. Hello. But we just wanted to, this idea came together with a group of alumni that, you know, we're all in this group chat together, but we wanted to formalize this discussion and really just start to get some steam going around the idea of Notre Dame softball and us just being a more powerful, cohesive unit and in supporting our team and being more informed about our team, but also being more helpful and, you know, contributing to our team as well. So this is the first of many. We hope these sessions grow. We're going to stay on schedule. So we will promptly end at, I believe it's 9 p.m. Eastern time. And for those of you that are on the West Coast, 6 p.m. But we're just going to get going right now. And tonight's just going to be really like more of an intro. We're going to talk about a few hot topics. We've got some questions from you guys, but if you guys do have questions throughout the session, please feel free to throw them in the chat and we'll get them answered as best we can with the ability to stay on schedule. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Deanna Gumpf, our head coach right now. Deanna needs no introduction from many of us. Welcome and hello, Deanna. How are you doing? And how's the team doing? How's everything? Let's just hear from you.
Hello. And first of all, Lizzy, thanks for doing this. And thanks for everybody who is listening and wants information about Notre Dame softball. It is one of the most important things in my life. And I love so many people on this Zoom, and I'm super excited to talk about the team.
Awesome. Well, let's get to the team right away. We want to hear about the team. We want to know how they're doing. We know it's been probably a really busy month or 3 weeks since they've been back on campus. Can you tell us something interesting about this year's team and what you've gotten to know about them already? Something that you want your alumni, family, and friends to know about this group. Maybe just a fun fact, or just let us know how they're doing.
Yeah, well, we have had them on the field for about 3 weeks. We've been in team practices for 2 weeks, and we've already played 2 games. So we had 2 games yesterday. They were great. We threw all of our pitchers, got everybody in. They all, it was just a great day to play softball. In the 7th inning of the 2nd game, the lightning started coming, so we left a couple outs early, but it was okay because it was already a mercy roll, so it was fine. But I think the thing that I'm really, proud of, and I think that a lot of our alumni would be really proud of about this team, is something that actually happened over the summer. A lot of the upperclassmen were really frustrated and I'd say disappointed in how we ended last year. And I think we underperformed, and I think that everybody on the team would say the same thing. And most of them came to me at the end of the season and said, we want to do things different. We want to be better. We need help, and we want to be the best we can possibly be. And we actually met pretty much every 2 weeks over the summer and did a leadership book, went over leadership stuff, talked to them about what they think is important for the team. And I got to be honest, it was so cool. And I'm so proud of them because it was them. It wasn't me pushing it. They just wanted to do it. And usually I'm like, summer's off, go do your thing. But this group is driven, and really, I just think that they're ready to do something different. So I'm really, really proud of them.
What is the makeup of this year's team? For young, old?
Oh gosh, we're really balanced. Our sophomore class is tiny, but the rest of the classes are pretty balanced. It's about 6 people per class. Yeah, 6, 6, 6, and 3.
Awesome. Nice.
Yeah.
And we understand that you guys have a pretty cool trip coming up. Can you talk about that?
Yes. We are going to take the team on our foreign tour. We get to go over once every 4 years, and a lot of you have been on a foreign tour on this call. But we're going to Greece and Croatia, and it's been a bucket list for me for some time. and Paul and Linda Demo, who helped pay for this trip for our team. Paul's from Croatia, so we've always wanted to do this trip for him. So we're doing it. We're going, and we're leaving in 3.5 weeks, and it's going to be outrageous. A lot of history, a lot of beach time, some boats, and a lot of touring. So I'm really happy for the girls and really excited about the trip.
I think that's awesome. I think for all of us who have been on a trip, it's something that we're all probably might be in the top 3 of our memorable moments of our careers when you do take that trip, and the fact that you still do with that even past COVID and this whole new environment, I think is so speaks to the volume of just providing an experience for our team rather than it just being a softball experience. And I think that that's something that I think it's very unique about Notre Dame softball. And we should all be very proud of and very appreciative that we got that, because I don't think that happens really anywhere else.
Yeah, and I was really worried after COVID. I didn't think we were going to be able to get back on the road. But luckily, Jack was 100% supportive. Teams started going abroad last year. So we started going at Notre Dame, and it is so special, and it's so cool because if you listen to the graduation speeches and our senior dinner speeches, so often their most fond or the fondest memories they have are of these foreign things that happened during these foreign tours.
Absolutely. Well, we want to get into some of the hot topics right away, because I think that we all just want to talk softball, Notre Dame. But there's just been so much change lately within the college athletics world. And I think it's safe to say that what Notre Dame softball has transformed into in the last 2 to 3 years looks nothing like what our classes played for maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It's just in the last 2 to 3 years, there's been such a shift in the environment, and it's just different. So with that, can you just kind of explain, we want to touch on first some of the name, image, and likeness. For the people on the call today that don't maybe understand what that is, can you just explain in basic terms what name, image, likeness is, and what it means for softball?
Sure. Yes, name, image, and likeness is really something that Notre Dame was a huge proponent of, because what it's about is basically an athlete should be able to build their brands and make money that they deserve to make. And if they, let's say that they like to play music on the side and they want to have, go with a band and go play, they should be paid to go play with that band. And prior to that, they couldn't. Or if they make a clothing line, they should be able to be paid for that clothing line. And before name, image, and likeness, they couldn't. So the thought behind it was so important for our athletes. And the reason why it passed was such a, it was a really good thought going forward, because we were trying to protect all the student athletes. So we were huge proponents of it. But what happened, it became pay for play, especially in, most of you probably hear and see it, a lot of it in, football, basketball, and it started, you're just paying players to go play instead of them earning their money through their name, image, or likeness. So the thought was right. What's happening right now is chaos. And I'm sure anybody in college athletics is probably saying the same thing, unless you're the one that has the millions to give to players. It's trickling down to softball for sure. Not at the level, it's probably at I would say like the 2% level are getting paid big dollars, but again, it's like 2%. But you just hear about those, so it sounds like it's everywhere. But at Notre Dame, we're sticking to the reality of and what the intent was. We're sticking to name, image, and likeness. And if someone wants to build their brand and earn money off of things that they do to earn that money, we're all in. And we have an awesome office at Notre Dame that helps our student athletes who are really interested in this. And I think that the older girls, our older players, aren't as interested. I think some of the younger ones are really starting to understand it a little bit more and are a little more interested. And now in the recruiting world, it's one of the first things I'm asked. So it's really become, a big part of what we do. And, some recruiters are asked like, well, what type of money do you have for a name, image, and likeness? And it's just misinformation out there that they think that they can get, pay to play. And that's just not the case.
Yeah, I think most of what we hear and the general public here is $1 million deals and car dealerships, offering cars to student athletes. And for Notre Dame, you kind of touched on what that does look like for Notre Dame. It might not be that, but it's a little bit more moderate and supportive of our student athletes. Have you gotten a sense of whether or not this is a positive thing for Notre Dame and Notre Dame softball, or is it still too young to tell?
I think the intent is positive, and I think it can be positive. And I think if we do things right, and really well, I think it's really positive. Brady Quinn started the fund Friends of University of Notre Dame. And so that's been helping the collectives of teams. And so there are these options out here that are trying to do it. And the student athletes are doing things to, to earn that money. So I really like it. And I think it could be really positive and a really, could help these players. But I just hope that in some way can be more, I don't just get our arms around it a little bit and control it in some way, because it's just so out of control right now. It's just a free for all.
I mean, I think it's safe to say, like in 10 years, it's going to look different than it does now. It's just young, it's growing.
100%.
We don't know what it's going to look like. Is there a way in which our alumni and friends on the call today, or people that are involved with the program can get involved with it, or do you not quite know yet?
Well, I think the one way that I know, if people do want to be involved in it, it is to go through the fund. And I think that's the best way to get started, because it's already happening and a lot of teams are using it. We just haven't yet. And honestly, we haven't, to kind of put it in perspective. We've chosen to take our team on a foreign tour. So we're kind of going that direction and having the experiences. And we're really more focused on raising our money for that than for the fund so far. So it just depends on, will this change? I hope we can do both. I don't know. Again, it's so, like you said, Lizzy, it's so new. I'm not quite sure, how long it's sustainable to go in the direction that it's been going. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I have no idea.
Well, I can tell you from experience, spending the last year of my career, and for those of you who don't know, my husband coaches, and we spent the last year at Florida State, where NIL is very real and it's very invested in. And to just see that and compare it to what the value of the experience and the education at Notre Dame, it's just, at Notre Dame, you're getting the long-term investment. And I think that's something we all need to like really value and just appreciate, rather than just thinking about that quick money cash in my pocket. So I think that, the fact that if people want to criticize Notre Dame for maybe not investing in it all the way, or going with those $1 million deals, like, it's not sustainable. Number one, it's not protecting the athletes. Number two, and it's our greatest investment is their experience and their degree and what they're getting. So I think that we continue to just, back Notre Dame in that, and get on board with Notre Dame's mission as well, and your mission with it. So I appreciate that.
Yep.
Jumping topics, another hot topic right now is just the conference realignment. And so much has been, going on out there, a lot of shifting. We've been kind of this, the one in the middle, a lot of people waiting for us to make a move. We're standing where we're standing. What's been the message from Jack and your administration about conference realignment right now? What's that looking like?
Ever changing. He just says, hold tight, because it's going to keep shifting. Adding Stanford and Cal into softball, SMU as well, but not for softball. That's happening. It's done. It's flipping that quickly. We're actually meeting with the new schools in 2 weeks to go over how we're going to try to play, two sides of the country. And, but it's ever changing. I mean, the messages from Jack is don't get too comfortable because it's going to change again. And, we're going to, thank goodness. I think it's awesome that football has stayed independent. And that's, I just think from all the things we've heard, I just think we're really lucky, because we're able to make our own decisions and do what's best for Notre Dame and put us in a really good place to be. And I think we're going to stay here as long as we possibly can. So the conference realignment is nuts. And like Jack said, just hold on tight. It's not over yet.
Yeah, I mean, how are you feeling about life in the ACC? I mean, like it was, you've been in it for a while now. How do you feel about it?
Travel's brutal. So that's not going to get easier. That's just going to get crazier. And, it's funny because I remember when we were in the Big East, I was saying, boy, it's, travel is tough, but it really was easy because we were kind of going in one direction only. And now we're going to all these small towns that are really hard to get to. So travel's been really tough in the ACC. Luckily, we've been able to get some more charters for the team, especially when it comes to ACC play. And that's been a heaven. I can't explain how that changes our entire lives. By the time it's like the 6th trip and we finally get to have a charter, it's pretty wonderful. So that's been a really huge blessing for our team. And yeah, travel's going to get crazier, but there's no way we're playing. We don't play everybody now. The current ACC has 13 schools, 12 plus us. We play only 8 opponents. I don't think that's going to change, even with the addition of the 2. So we'll have 15 teams, and I think we're still going to probably play 8. I can't imagine us playing more than that unless we do a pod weekend, which they're talking about. I can't imagine everybody trying to travel someplace instead of maybe 2 teams traveling. So I don't know. It's messy. It's really messy. And we got to figure it out. But I would be surprised if they tried to play more than 8 opponents, regardless of how many come into the conference.
Oh, well, we'll stay tuned for that. I always thought, like, when we were in the Big East, one thing I missed the most, we never ate better than we were in the Big East. All those Northeast towns,
the East Coast,
great Italian food. That was one thing I probably missed the most when we switched over to the ACC.
Yeah.
So,
now we eat at Wegmans.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if anybody has any questions about either of those, kind of hot topics, please feel free to throw them in the chat. And I'm going to actually shift a little, and we want to talk about, we want to hear about the team a little more. Can you tell us about the freshmen?
Yes.
Number one. And we also have, it looks like you have a recent new staff addition, and Coach Licky, and then, just who the new faces are on staff. Let's hear about who they are.
For sure. Okay, freshmen. I need to go around the infield. There's 6 of them. So let's see. We'll start on the mound. That's Cami Kamzik. She is a pitcher from Pennsylvania. Then let's see, on the infield, we have Olivia Levitt. She plays middle infield and some third base. Addie Amaral from Northern California. Addie Amaral is also a middle infielder, does some third base, another, strong infielder. So those 2. And then we have Sydney Peck. She is from the Indianapolis area. And we have Christina Williamson. She's from Virginia. And let's see, who am I missing right here? I know I'm missing Tenley Sweet, who is a familiar last name, an outfielder for us who is just so fun to have around. It's just, we have that freshman class, they're just awesome. And I got to tell you, I didn't realize how many of them look so similar. We sent their pictures, and our athletics communications director was taking pictures of the freshmen and our practices, and he couldn't tell them apart. So I don't know what the freshman class, they all look alike. So it's pretty funny, but they're all a great addition to our team. And I'm really, really excited about this crew because I think that they're going to do some damage.
Do we have any good freshman stories of yet? Or have they gotten to you yet? Like, getting lost, bikes stolen, falling out of a loft. I mean, these are all things that have happened to all of us. Anything good yet?
Yes, just, I think there's been a stolen scooter. It's just, honestly, right now, I haven't had too many funny stories. I think the stress of the first round of tests, they're happening right now. So I think the stress level of our freshmen are really high, because they're trying to manage, the academics have hit them in the face right now. So and they're handling it really well. They're hanging in there. We're also doing tons of on-campus recruiting right now. So we are just pounding them with so much time, outside of the classroom. So it's been a lot for them. I think they're in a whirlwind, and they'll come down maybe after fall break.
That's good for them. It's really good for them.
Yeah.
It will get easier.
Yeah.
What about let's talk about Lit and her addition to the staff.
Yeah, so a lot of you might know the name Kathy Litke. She was the head coach at Western Michigan for, I think, 22 years. She was there. She retired 2 years ago from Western, and just was hanging out. And we needed an analytics fellow is her title. But a lot of the country, they've been hiring positions like crazy. I mean, there are softball teams who have 8 or 9 on staff. And so I begged Lit to come on back to help us coach and work out with our analytics. And it's so cool to have her around, and she's just so wise, and she's always seeing things, has a great perspective. And I feel like we're just getting our feet wet with her. I feel like I haven't even dove into all the things we can get from her yet, but we'll get them. But we're just getting started.
Yeah. Lit is one of the most genuine people I've ever met in my life. And she was in the last year of my life, just consistent text messages, checking in, such a good person. So for you to bring such a quality person on board, if any of our alumni, family, and friends are around the program and get a chance to know Lit, I highly recommend, because she's just a quality person. So
I agree, Lizzy, and I just hope people get a chance to talk with her, because the minute you talk with her, you're like, I get it.
Yeah. And she won't come talk to you, but if you go talk to her, you'll get it. She's awesome. So
yeah,
that's really great.
Yeah.
Our time is kind of coming to a close. I just want to touch on the purpose of these calls, and just bringing our group together in a more formal way. And this is the first one, and we're just going to see how they kind of grow over time, and what this turns into. If we can start here, and every several times a year check in, and help our alumni, family, and friends grow. For you, I think I'd like to just know a message from you. What is the ideal situation of the support from your alumni, family, and friends look like? How can we support you and the program, and what would it look like for you ideally from this group?
Yeah, number one, just stay connected. And it sometimes feels so hard to stay connected, but please never hesitate to reach out. We're always, anytime you're on campus, I oftentimes have our alumni come and just talk to the team. Scooney came to campus last time in the spring, and I just said, just come talk to the team. And she was just telling silly stories about me. She was my first recruit, my first verbal commitment. And so that was really neat to have her there. And I love when you guys are at the stadium, because that connection is super, super important. And we really want to start engaging our alumni a lot more, because you guys are so helpful, and in so many ways. Just, our players want to do what you are all doing. And anytime we can connect you with them, that's enormous and hugely helpful. And so many of you guys have given back to our program. And I want you to know how thankful and grateful I am for that, because that is, it doesn't go unnoticed, and every little bit helps. And I can tell you, the things that we're doing with our Rockney Fund is incredible. We have, we're doing, we're doing our foreign tour. We're doing a training trip in January to get on the dirt before season starts. We use a lot of technology now, and so a lot of that is going towards technology. Visual Edge, it's a site thing to help the girls identify pitches. Super cool. Rapsoda, more data analytics. So we're trying to make sure that we're putting our team in the very, very best situation to do the very best they can and to have the best experience. And you guys help with that so much. And your presence helps just as much as giving back to the program. So just know I'm in for any time anybody wants to come back and just talk to the girls. It means the world to us. Right?
We, just so to give you guys kind of a preview, some ideas for future topics for these alumni discussions. We want to do one where we meet the team. We want to do one where we meet the staff. And these might be combined or separate. I don't know. We're still kind of growing. But getting actually, the team and the staff's faces on here and interacting with our alumni family and friends, I think is really important to start, creating a stronger connection. When we have had thoughts of doing a whole career, jobs, advice, networking session, where we can really connect our players right now with this powerful network of people on this call, and how can we serve our players and help them navigate what's next for them. So we would like to do something with career and jobs. We'd like to maybe talk about some other hot topics. One right now being mental health. It's huge for our athletes. How are they handling that? How are they managing it at a place like Notre Dame? Maybe like leadership best practices, some things maybe we can learn from you and some of the things you guys are teaching. I think that would be awesome. Deanna. And maybe in as season starts, we've talked about maybe doing a season preview and diving a little bit deeper into the team. But if anybody has any ideas for future calls or things you'd like to see, just text Deanna, Deanna or me, and we have a running list going that's just staying, and we can just keep adding these topics to the list, and we want to make sure we hit them and get to them. Because really, like, this is for all of us to stay connected to the program, but it's also how can we serve this program? This program gave us a lot, maybe some of the greatest gifts that we've had been given to us in our life that will take forever. And so I think that, if we can give back and help this program and Deanna and support her and the team and help everyone grow, that's a great gift we can give as well. So we are out of time. Like I said, we're going to stick on schedule. Thank you, everybody. I do want to make a plug. We are going to be rolling out a LinkedIn page soon. Alexis Madrid is working on it with our alumni crew. So that's going to be coming. I think LinkedIn is just a huge way for people to be, connecting and spreading and growing. So keep an eye out for that. Follow our girls on social media, support them. And Deanna, any closing words as we say goodbye to the crew?
No, you know what? This is the first one. I think it's going to be the first of many, many more. I'm super excited to always talk about the team. And I think they're pretty excited to get on here one of these days to introduce themselves to everybody. I think it'll be a lot of fun. We could do a little bird box action for those of you who know what that is. And just have, and kind of show you what they're all about, because they're pretty special. We have, our alumni are awesome. We have the greatest people in this whole entire world. And I'm just lucky that I get to be part of it and get to lead it. And I can't wait to do this and see everybody again. And I just want to thank you guys for your support.
Thank you. I think we have a big crew on campus this weekend. There'll be some tailgating going, so come around the softball stadium if you guys are there. But thank you, and thanks everyone for hopping on. We appreciate you taking time out of your night and connecting with us, and send us some ideas. Let's make this thing great, and go Irish.
Go Irish.